And the first thing the old man does is read out the simplest question. Is it true that the boy was born in the year 488? His father is a merchant and his mother a cook. The hero does not hesitate to answer such an easy question. One of the men asks why Ian need the alchemist of Lidio. The hero immediately makes up a story. His mother is sick, she needs medicine all the time. On the whole, of course, he did not deceive. But why did the hero then go to the ruins of the old tower? It's simple, Ian often read about them in books and always dreamed of one day looking at them. Then the man asks about Cecilia. The hero remembers her, doesn't he? The girl still remains silent. However, the most important question is asked by the older woman. Has Ian studied magic before? If not, then why does the boy know such powerful spells as Fireball, Freezing Blast? And the old woman wants to hear a convincing answer. The boy calmly explains that he was just visualizing in his head what he wanted to create. Like fire, for example. The hero did it over and over again, until one day the fire didn't appear. Everyone freaked out. That's a load of crap. It can't be. But the old man is focused. Interrogation magic was used on the hero. The kid wouldn't be able to lie to them. Could it be that the first legendary mage was reborn as a child? Or was Ian just a top-class mage who could suppress interrogation magic? No, that's simply impossible. The kid is too young for that. Then who is he? And at the same moment, the red-haired girl rises abruptly from her seat. It's time to ask what they're all here for. The girl tries to calm down, but to no avail. Are they themselves not interested in the hero's answer? Helen asks her only question. Who is Ion anyway? The girl is tired of the hero's lies. The red-haired girl wants to know who he really is. Why is he leading them around by the nose? Yes, perhaps this girl has not changed at all. The hero recalls how in a previous life Helen was the youngest mage of the 4th class before his appearance, and for her fiery temper the girl was nicknamed the Fire Lady. Ion asks if the girl doesn't know about him. Did you read the information the old man gave you? Helen's attitude was literally out of control. The boy seems to be mocking her, but their conflict is stopped by the chapter. The old man seriously looks at the hero. The man wants to ask one last question. On the day of the inspection, Ian had a conflict with a soldier because of his disrespectful attitude towards Vanessa. The hero continues to listen to the old man in silence. Well, the very next day Jonathan died and there were traces of mana on his body. So here is the crux of the matter. Did Ian have something to do with this incident? The hero realizes that the head is considered the master of the tower for a reason. The man never relies on magic alone, always thinking critically and questioning everything. Ian stares intently at the man. The fact is that a normal person would definitely be confused hearing such a question. Although, hell, staying calm would obviously raise even more suspicion. And since it's the last question, should he shrug off the effects of the elixir? Or should he answer as he is expected to? The hero puts his hand on his heart. He knows nothing about it. All present are greatly surprised. Is the guy so brazenly lying to them? The man decides to play along with Jonah. The old man had no doubt. The boy is clearly not capable of such a thing. The head apologizes for such a rude question. By the way, the man lied about the mana traces. Actually, the man just fell off a bridge. It's not good to lie, but it's a rite of passage for all magic. And since nothing is known about Ian's power, it is important to clarify what the hero can do and what he will be able to do in the future. The rest of the people present are watching intently. A mana vault appears in front of the hero. The old man explains that this is the main source of the tower's power. Right now the color of the tool is transparent, but the more mana it absorbs, the bluer it will become. So the tower head asks the hero to channel his mana into the orb. Ian asks if he should pour it all in. Yes, everyone wants to see how strong the guy is. Then Ian walks over to the orb. The hero remembers that the vault can be filled up to level 3. In his case, however, it would be better to do it up to the 2nd. The hero puts his hand on the ball, and now he's going to show them what they want. Then everyone breathes a sigh of relief. But wait a minute, why would he even do that? In his past life, the hero was a level 8 mage, but his name didn't remain in history. The hero always lived as the situation demanded. Ian places his other hand on the balloon. He remembers himself in the blood on the battlefield. He doesn't care about strength, he doesn't care about power or honor. Magic is the only thing the hero cares about. Ian channels the power into the orb. The instrument lights up with a bright blue light and instantly shatters into shards. The entire room quickly fills with mist. Ian himself is breathing heavily. This ordeal had not been easy for him, and everyone is literally dumbfounded and amazed by what is happening. The Fire Lady doesn't understand. How is this even possible? Isn't he a mage of the 3rd level? The hero has clearly surpassed all their expectations, and Ian confidently comes out of the smoke. One of the mages beats his fist on the table with force. The rumors about the hero turned out to be true. and his level is above the 3rd level. The only one who's no match for him. And anyway, they all saw the look on Ion's face when he lied about killing the soldier. The man is just outraged. Does the master even know what that means? The tower just has to poach and rein in the boy before he becomes a true monster. However, training at the academy and a 5-year mana testing mission in the province the boy clearly does not need. The old man agrees. There is no point in the hero entering the academy. He will only become a problem for other students there. So since even they are amazed by his abilities, how will the students feel? Absolutely everyone in the room nods in agreement. The old man, to be honest, doesn't think it's important whether Ian killed that soldier or not. The main thing is that the interrogation magic affects the boy, which means you can always check if he's lying to them or not. The man hopes that everyone understands the importance of maintaining the tower's reputation. The stronger their magic, the stronger the ivory tower itself. By the way, wouldn't it be better to recognize the hero as the 12th Archmage and then officially announce that a level 4 mother appears? The head of the tower remarks that it would also be best to receive individualized training from a top-tier mage. Yes, everyone present fully agrees with the head. Well, if that's the case, then fine, but who wants to take over his training after all? And someone seems to be raising their hand. One girl agrees. Yeah, the hero clearly didn't expect to be recognized as an Archmage so quickly and asked to come here again. And she calls out to this girl. The hero is happy to see her again. This pretty girl has heard that she too has been recognized as a mage of the 4th class. Actually yes, it is so, there is nothing to hide. The girl's eyes light up, it's just unbelievable. He's only 12 and he's already an Archmage. Yes, the rumors about the boy are true after all. And by the way, the cute boy has just been appointed as the hero's assistant for the next year. And the girl really hopes they'll get along. The hero suggests to the girl to come on you. After all, she is older and more experienced. Compliments, of course, is not his specialty, but the girl is wildly delighted. Since the hero thinks so, the girl is simply obliged to make an excursion to the hero. And so they come to the academy. The girl tells him that the hero could be trained here, but with such impeccable skills, there is no need for a personal mentor. Ian realizes that, most likely, the girl will just brainwash him, suggesting that he go to the side of the tower. At this point, the hero notices his former friends. In his past life, he stood next to them. Absolutely all of these guys were killed by Colwood spies during the First Unification War. The hero remembers himself at their graves. He never expected to see them alive again, and smiles slightly. There's a huge gap between them now, but perhaps a chat will still be possible. The girl kindly shows the boy the room. The girl even used cleaning magic. The hero, of course, couldn't help but be excited. Is this really the room? The girl explains that 300 years ago, when the new tower was founded, there were 24 4th-class mages. The master allowed the hero to use this room for his practices. And the pretty girl asks Ian to wait. Now she will bring a tutor for him. After these words, the girl leaves, and the hero touches the table and raises his eyes to the window. How long it's been since he's been here. In this life, the room went to the boy 7 years earlier, all because he is recognized as an Archmage at such an early age. His path is set. It is imperative for the hero to strengthen his influence in the tower over the next 6 years. Aeon recalls how, in a past life, the tower went completely over to Ragnar's side. It is incumbent upon the hero to strengthen his position by this point. He will clearly need power to stop the tower master and his influence over the prince. The hero has a duty to subdue the power of the tower, which has been going after its master all along. He needs to gain respect for himself and a power greater than the old man. That's the only way he'll be able to take control of the tower. The hero sighs. Until then he'll have to pretend to be a little boy while he's too weak and young and can't even make it to 5th grade. At the same second, the door opens forcefully and he turns around surprised to see who is in front of him. Why did they send her in the first place? And Helen smiles. It's been a long time since they've seen the little liar. The hero is puzzled. Why did they send Helen specifically? The hero remarks, it was the same girl who had to collect the shards of the mana vault. The girl is even more pissed off. It seems the boy has gotten even more brazen. Well, it doesn't matter, he knows most of their program after all. Etiquette, history of the tower, theory of magic. In short, everything they teach at the academy. Even so, the tower master decided to introduce a personal teacher to the hero. Ordinary students would have a hard time studying with the boy. In one motion, the girl lifts the books from the shelves and grabs one of them, while the rest forcefully collapses to the floor. Her own book is also tossed aside by the girl. Let the old men learn from these books. Treatises aren't her thing. Helen leans toward the hero. He's the one who caught Cecilia. And the girl was good in battle. The fiery girl had high hopes for her. And the girl wonders if that girl had not turned out to be a spy, she would have surpassed the red-haired girl. Helen casts a hard glance at the hero. It's a good thing he figured out the traitor. And then the girl turns around. Now that she was his teacher, it was time to teach him something. There are several types of mages: warrior mages, assistant mages, and research mages. The girl considers the other types of mages to be trash. Helen arrogantly asks how the hero thinks the girl belongs to which class. The hero sighs heavily, of course, to the former. Helen smiles, because she is, the red-haired girl is the best mage of her kind. The pretty girl stares greedily at the hero. No matter who says what, the girl's skills are on a whole other level. Helen approaches Ian. The fiery wench has her own approach to training, and it's time to get to it. It's time for them to go. The hero clearly does not like this arrangement. The redhead leads the hero to the academy courtyard. The girl wonders if the hero even understands what they will do. Now Ian will learn to fight without fear of death. The guy realizes that events are taking their course. The girl in his past life molested him. The eyes of the hero light up. This time he will show what he is capable of from the beginning. The mages gathered around don't understand what's going on here. Have they decided to fight here? But wouldn't that be dangerous for Ian? Helen smirks. It looks like enough spectators have gathered, so it's time to get started. Well, the first move will be the hero's. Ian epically throws off his cloak. The girl is sure she can handle it. Helen is shocked at the insolence. Should she start worrying? What's the big deal? Then the hero puts his hand forward. He's not going to give in. The guy concentrates mana around him, and Helen advises the hero to create a shield first. The girl is clearly fired up with the desire to win. Although none of this matters, the Fire Maiden will easily destroy any shield. The hero watches Helen's skill carefully. The boy immediately erects an ice block around himself. And that's his idea of a joke? Of all the accounts, he chose this one? The girl is tapping on the ice block. Is the boy just going to sit there and waste mana? Ice block is a powerful defense spell. But there's a problem: a mage imprisoned in it can't use other spells. Helen threw up her hands. Though what did the red-haired girl expect from the boy? Wait a minute, what's that? Does everyone around you hear that sound too? The girl turns sharply to the ice cage. This is simply impossible. The hero opens his eyes. Damn, how did he even manage to move in this block? Helen hesitantly approaches. But at the same second, a plant bursting out of the ground appears in front of the girl. Helen is horrified by this turn of events, and a powerful sound sweeps across the area. The lianas come down on Helen with force. The girl barely manages to dodge and applies flames. Damn, when will they finally stop appearing? At this rate, the girl is about to lose to him. She needs to find a way to get Ian out of the ice block. The girl frantically tries to come up with a plan. And then a plant suddenly popped up from behind. Helen only has time to be surprised as the vines entwine the girl's body. The hero comes out of the ice cage. Now it is clear to the girl why he is considered the reincarnation of the first magician. The Fire Maiden meekly accepts defeat. Now the hero can let the girl go. But no, it's too easy a victory. Helen is shocked. The girl has already lost. What does the boy mean? Ian raises his hand, and sparks immediately dance in his fingers, and the sky clouds over. What's going on? A hero wouldn't do that, would he? Ian summons a strong bolt of lightning. Helen is horrified. It's just a drill. The girl begs. No, she begs the hero to stop. But here comes and with a cold stare, bringing the lightning down on her. In Helen's eyes there is real horror. The mages around in complete silence watch what is happening. The girl barely regains consciousness. The lightning struck very close to her. However, she is alive. The hero takes a seat next to her. Helen is horrified and demands that Ian move away from her immediately, but the boy moves right up to the red-haired girl's face. Does the girl think she has anything to teach him? Helen lightning fast starts shaking her head left to right, and the hero smiles victoriously. The boy tells the girl, trembling with fear, that he's leaving. In fact, he turns around and begins to walk away with a confident stride. Ian asks those present to stand aside. He is very tired, and everyone, of course, immediately gives way to him. A little later, the Tower Master decides to check on Helen. The man asks one of the mages how she is feeling. Unfortunately, not so good. The girl has been refusing to eat for days. The old man is insanely pissed off. The red-haired girl lost to some 12-year-old boy? The man had asked the girl to break her to side with the tower. And in the end, Helen was broken herself. Yes, it seems that to curb the hero will not be so easy. He's not a house dog ready to be chained up. Yes, this is clearly going to take more time. The man opens the door, the old man apologizes for being late, and the prince stands by the table. The guy closes the book. That's okay. The prince made the appointment himself. And the guy smiles slightly. The blonde asks the old man to tell more about one page. And so in the morning Douglas is incredibly beautifully dressed and approaches his father. The boy is ready to go, but the man only smiles. Lydio tells the hero that he will take his son to the academy. The boy is glowing with happiness. They will be back soon. Calls him captain. The doors close behind them, and the hero thinks, today is the first day of classes. Douglas was accepted into the highest ranks of the alchemical academy. Obviously, the boy has talent, but Ian finds it easy to learn the material he has studied long ago, and he slams the book shut for the umpteenth time. And besides studying magic, there is nothing else to do. Then Ian gets up from his chair, as he has not had a moment's rest since his return to the past. Ragnar has not yet begun to act, but he will not stay long. The hero looks at his reflection. Ideally, he should start training his body to increase his abilities. But could he just let himself relax and do nothing? Suddenly there was a knock at the door. A maid, Ian thought. It is. The maid brings in a letter on a tray. It's an invitation from the palace. But Ian is a little confused about what the invitation is and where it is going. The hero takes the letter in his hands. There is a seal, and it belongs to the crown prince. To be honest, the hero is a bit confused. But nevertheless, already in the evening Ian arrives at the palace. The boy does not understand why the prince invited him to the event. Everyone knows that magicians who are not blood aristocrats are not invited to the light. The hero is perplexed as to what the prince was even thinking. For the first time, the prince himself took on the task of organizing the banquet. In his past life, the prince did not organize events, as he was not in close relations with the nobility. Because of his passive approach to life, the guy never made his debut in the politics of the empire and was not recognized in high society. Unlike Ragnar, the fifth prince was able to strengthen his position by taking power into his hands. Apparently, the emperor, the only person left on the crown prince's side, managed to influence his son. Well, perhaps it's only to the hero's advantage. Except that he had never attended an event like this before. Perhaps we should sit quietly and leave. The hero approaches the butler, and the man holds out an invitation card. The door opens, and an incredibly beautifully decorated hall appears before the hero. People whisper among themselves, noticing the boy, and he feels a little out of place. And the butler announces, His Highness, the crown prince has arrived, and everyone immediately takes a bow. The prince walks up to the balcony and thanks everyone for coming today. The boy reminds them that today is the first time they are opening the banquet in his father's place. But before we begin, the prince wants to introduce someone. Handsome turns his head toward the hero. Really? The prince explains that his special guest today is a fourth-class Archmage. Hailing from the northern province of Morrigan, Ian Page, he is in the ivory tower. The hero is shocked at this turn of events. The guy seriously did it. The happy prince approaches Ian. In fact, all the celebration is organized just for him. And for his sake, the hero must be flattered. Hell, the guy put on this circus to show the nobles that the hero is on his side. Yeah, I guess it was the emperor's idea. The prince has heard how great he was in the tower, and the boy is laughing merrily. The hero just arrived and almost defeated a top-class mage from the start. Funny how the local old-timers felt. The first time they met, the prince thought it would be more difficult with Ian. He was very scruffy, but his outstanding talent is simply amazing. Of course, to go after the hero was suggested by the emperor, but the guy is glad that it worked out that way. But there is someone whom the prince would also like to introduce. The blonde asks the man to approach, and Ian is clearly surprised because the prince has decided to introduce his younger sister, Haley. The girl happily introduces herself to the hero. The princess is all glowing. Both of them talk so much, he is already a real celebrity. Today the girl came just to say hello. But next time, she'd really like to meet and discuss the hero's life. Well, Ion can probably only tell Princess Haley boring stories about monsters and magic. Oh well, the princess is not only interested in magic itself, but also in the lives of other people on Earth. In general, the girl smiles, which is why she wants to ask the hero about a lot of things. Soon the princess will send him an invitation, but for now the girl wishes the hero to just enjoy today's banquet. The hero thanks for the attention to himself, and the prince and his sister leave. Ian, on the other hand, is watching Haley carefully. The girl is not the same as she appeared in the sanctuary. Here she glows. The prince, though worried, is doing a good job. Well, Ian can leave before he gets bored. And as he walks outside, he spots Oliver. And he walks up to the guy, and he looks great in his tuxedo. The knight is embarrassed, because his highness ordered him to wear this formal attire. The men look at each other, and it becomes somehow awkward. Apparently, the hero went out on the terrace for nothing. Oliver says he knows what rumors are going around about the hero, about his victory over Helen. The hero recalls that the prince immediately mentions the incident, and he is surprised that even Oliver knows about the incident. The boy thought that the affairs of the tower never went beyond its borders. But if the knights couldn't get important information, then why would they be needed at all? Especially in this century. The current century, yes. Since the Empire's defense and greenwares are now in charge of magic, the knights have become aids and decorations that speak of their master status. Oliver is surprised that the hero was able to defeat such a fourth-class mage, Helen herself, the Fire Lord. The guy even starts to doubt that he too is really a little boy, and the hero makes an innocent face. Come on, he's not that good. Oliver realizes that the prince trusts the hero, even invited him to a banquet for high-ranking gentlemen. That's why the guy just has to find out whose side the hero is on. The knight does not care who Ian really is and how he acquired such an outstanding talent at such a young age. But the guy knows that the ivory tower supports the fifth prince. What about the hero? He is also in favor of them. Ion was slightly embarrassed. Such a question caught him off guard. Who could answer it so straightforwardly? Well, the thing is, Oliver just needs to know. The boy's eyes become icy. Who is his master's ally and who is his enemy? The hero remembers about Oliver. The boy and in that life protected the prince and even gave his life for him. And he does not yet know which side he is on, but such an answer clearly does not suit the knight. That is why the hero can assure Oliver of one thing: he will never side with the fifth prince in his life. The knight is greatly surprised by such an answer, and the guy quickly looks around. Ian calms the man. He applied magic, so outsiders did not hear their dialogue. The hero smiles good-naturedly. That answer would satisfy Oliver, wouldn't it? And yes, perhaps quite satisfactory. But can the boy ask the hero for one favor? Before the hero chooses sides, let him duel with the knight. Oliver needs to get stronger. A duel? The guy wants to figure out how to stand up to the mages? But Oliver realizes that one day his sword may turn against the hero. Yes, he does. The hero laughs, and Oliver is pretty tough. Still, Ion would probably refuse such an offer. The fact is that for him there is absolutely no benefit here. The boy takes off his necklace and holds it out to the boy. It was given to him by the Empress when he became His Highness' personal knight. The woman said it was magical and helped clear the mine. The hero is literally stunned. This is one of the lost Imperial treasures that belonged to the Empress. And Oliver is going to give it away? The jewelry would clearly be more useful to the hero. He's not kidding, but it was a gift to the late Empress. It is not so important. The woman asked to protect her son, and training with Ian will help to fulfill this request. The deceased lady would have understood that. The hero looks sadly at such a dedicated man. Well, okay, since that's the case, he agrees to the training. The hero accepts the necklace, and Oliver is only too happy to do so. And at that very second, there is a powerful explosion nearby. Such a turn of events absolutely none of them clearly did not expect, and it seemed to rumble through the palace. Oliver was horrified, for he was worried for his prince. This concerned him directly first and foremost. And running inside, the captain immediately called out to His Highness. Someone from the back of the hall answered and motioned for him to come over. It was the Crown Prince and his entourage. They were all terrified. Thank God His Highness is all right. Guards from other corners of the palace came running. Oliver immediately asked for a report on what happened, and one of the palace guards reported. There was an explosion in the palace compound. The cause is not yet known. They had already sent a message through the emergency communication system and were waiting for reinforcements from all posts. Ion needed to remember what this was about. The Emperor's emergency communication system, a system that links soldiers, country, palace, and ivory tower. Once activated, everyone is obligated to rush to the palace. And once the system is activated, it won't be long before the magicians and soldiers are here. But what if that's what the explosions were designed to do? Ion seems to have figured it out. We must hurry. That's why he created a mana barrier, which he used to cover all the gentlemen present. And then he asked Haley to support him with her mana. The girl hesitated, because she had never practiced such a thing herself. But the answer waited no time, and the young man instructed her to do so, leaving the dome. Ion hastened to find out what he needed. For this the boy turned to the maids. He sought one of them named Isabel. No one was hiding. That girl said she really wanted to visit the central palace. That's why she came from the second palace. That's what the mage thought. They want to find Cecilia. The Cotwalkers plan to use explosions to draw the guards from the ivory tower to get to the girl. They don't care about her life. They want information about Jonah, and he's not planning on letting that happen. As expected, the tower was quiet. No one heard the experienced magician's footsteps, so he could not stop him from approaching Cecilia's cell and saying hello to her. The girl didn't realize who it was at first, but when Daniel introduced himself, everything became clear, and he thought she was much more capable. But alas, Cecilia immediately rushed to the bars and asked to be released. The boy didn't mind, but first they had to clear something up, and the girl understood what it was about. She didn't say anything to anyone. Only the boy, Ian Page, knew everything, both about the cowgirls and the orders given to them. Daniel was actually surprised after hearing this. The young mage even knew about magical markings unlike Cecilia, and all the other codwalkers who had been told about it recently, Danielle added. The girl didn't know any more information and again asked to be released. Yes, the guy had no choice but to open the door for her to come out. But before doing so, there was something she needed to hear. At that moment, a sharp blade dug sharply into her thin neck and went almost through her. Cecilia, who had fallen to her knees, did not have long to live. The chiefs of the codwalkers had to think for a long time about how they could get into the tower and what to do with the girl. She's a third-class mage after all, so wouldn't it be better to rescue her? But here's their final decision. Sleep well, my friend Cecilia. And you too, came a cold voice from behind him, to which Daniel turned sharply, and all in time to snatch his blade from beneath his robe and then throw it at the unexpected guest. Yes, he seemed to scratch Ian's cheek, but here the man didn't even flinch, only casting a dry look at his wound. So the guy had already killed Cecilia? Thanks for that. One less problem to worry about. Walls of ice appeared around the Coldwalker's legs, restraining him. Ian was incredibly lucky to meet Daniel here, because the boy had wanted to kill him with his own hands for so long. He offered to take him alive. Wouldn't that be better? But the ice kept chaining his body higher and higher. Now Ian will be able to avenge all his friends. Danielle doesn't understand what this is all about, but the magician explained, before that incident was still 10 years, and almost all of Coldwalker's body was already covered with ice. Ian went back in time and made a promise to himself to change everything. The mage's hand touched the ice, and then it cracked in a flash. There was no doubt in the young man's eyes as he looked at the body that had fallen to the ground. We need to find the mana seal around his neck, came voices around the corner. Ian had to hurry. The elder demands an explanation of what happened here. A broken grate, 2 corpses in the middle of the passage, and both of them with the markings of cowpunchers. Already 2 people from the palace had turned out to be spies, from the maid to the secretary. How could a tower of magic allow such a thing to happen? Let its master explain it. After all, the magicians themselves asked that the investigation into Cecilia's identity be handed over to them. So why didn't they check it out? How can His Majesty trust the tower now? He is revoking their right to investigate. They must hand over all information on this case to the Imperial Guard today. But the head of the tower would not argue. After the reprimand, His Majesty dismissed the mages, sitting down tiredly in his chair, hoping that it would not happen again next time. Alicay, meanwhile, motioned for Ian to come in. Here they meet again. The Emperor began, addressing the mage Ian Pajo, a native of the north. Thanks to the boy's skills, the Empire was once again able to protect itself from spies. If not for him, important and secret information would have fallen into the hands of the wrong people, and the secrets of the Imperial family would have become public. The merits of loyal and responsible people are never overlooked by His Majesty. That's why he wants to reward the young man, and he will do so by presenting him with this item, a robe that belonged to his ancestor, Mitchell Greenriver. He was the only wizard of Imperial blood. His Majesty is not supposed to give it to non-members of his family, but this time he felt that Ian could use it more. Therefore, the boy may believe that the Emperor is borrowing it for the rest of the young man's life, or until he renounces it himself. Michelle Greenriver is the first and last mage of Imperial blood, the hero who saved the Empire, a man who rose to the rank of Tower Master as a sign that his magical abilities were recognized. Have the young man try it on. It is worn on top of clothing, so there is no need to change clothes. Yeah, the robe looks really impressive. It's a little big, but it'll fit in time. And realized that the process could be accelerated. A little magic, and there it was, just the right size for a young wizard. The guests were amazed at the boy's abilities. Even the Emperor noticed how the robe suited him, especially the color, and was deeply honored by the attention. So he immediately knelt down and thanked His Majesty. The next few days, the palace was quiet again. The princess approached Mr. Ian and asked him not to bow when she saw him. In fact, she wanted to talk to the mage about one thing. The young man, ahead of words, decided to apologize for the other night, but the reason was different. Besides, Ian promises to keep the girl's secret. The princess may not worry about it. A figure came up behind him and majestically called Page a young man. It was a young man in a uniform, but of a different color, red. Thanks to the mage's efforts, the Imperial Palace and the Empire itself have been saved, he continued. Just as his father said, Ian is a true hero of their country. And it seems the young man forgot to introduce himself, though the boy surely knows of him. He, the fifth prince of the Empire, Ragnar Greenriver. Yes, an old friend, immediately reflected in Heen's memories. Why did he do that to him? The way he acted then that night? Damn Ragnar. It may be late, but the fifth prince congratulates the boy on receiving the recognition of the Ivory Tower. I didn't remember him that young. And Ragnar would really like to thank the mage personally for protecting the Empire from spies, and he's inviting him to dinner. What would he say to that? Page's fists literally clenched with anger. But suddenly a lady entered the conversation. He and Mr. Ian actually already have plans. For the other days too. Yes, the boy confirmed the words, indicating that he really had a lot of things to do. The fifth prince was slightly annoyed, but he had no arguments against the princess's inquisitive gaze. In that case, unfortunately, Ragnar has to leave for his scheduled meeting. He was really happy to see her. A daze descended from Ian's face. After all, it wasn't often you looked your death straight in the eye, much less speak kindly to it. Finally, the prince left with his guards, leaving the pair alone. In fact, the princess didn't want to interject herself into the men's conversation. Patch stopped her and reassured her. Actually, it's all right. Meanwhile, he was thinking about his friend Ragnar. They met 2 years earlier than in their previous life, and he's still hiding his intentions. This time and will ruin his plans. He will do it before he can increase his influence and his power. Ragnar will not be able to move one step closer to his goal. And the hero will only have to watch his descent into agony with rapture. From now on they are on opposite sides of the barricades. 5 years have passed since then. The Imperial Library is fully illuminated by the rays of the sun, but the Crown Prince does not feel any better. Why can't we keep it simple? And who writes these complicated books anyway? Hearing the indignation, the librarian tried to clarify things a bit. These books were written by the first emperor of the state, and they listed all the qualities that the prince would have to possess to be a future ruler. But for now, for the young man, it's just a stack of incoherent words. He would have to read them all: history, culture, economy, politics of the empire, and so on. The prince tried to find excuses in every way he could, but after all, today was not a good day. The librarian decided to remind him that the emperor wouldn't like that, but no one listened to him anymore. And he was on his way to see if the final battle between Oliver and Ian would be fought today. The vice-captain confirmed the prince's hunch. Indeed, it will be quite a spectacle. Then they should certainly be there, and it was time for them to go. The training ground of the 2nd Squadron of the Imperial Knights. The captain already looked exhausted, but this is his last chance. No mistakes can be made now. Once again, an icy hurricane comes from above. In such cases, you need to be able to turn off the anger to change position in time to stay alive. But it's not so easy when fighting against a mage, because the stone spikes appear right in front of Oliver's face. And even here you have to try to think rationally. For some it would seem like a problem, but for others it would seem like an opportunity. The captain accelerated as fast as he could and started jumping over the spikes to get to his goal faster. And that's to be expected from an opponent stronger than you. Another attack, and this time a powerful fireball. Oliver thinks he needs to go all the way through. Swinging his sword, he shouts for all his might, then pierces the stream of fire with his weapon. He must touch the mage by all means. Just this once, please. Wait, Ian, the captain's coming. And here's the last gasp of hope, isn't it? This is it, this is the moment. Yes, the moment of truth, he's done it. Right in the chest. The young magician praises his opponent, touching his hand. Except it was the back. Nice try. Even though it's a beautiful fight, Oliver is still annoyed. Because he hadn't touched Mr. Ian Page. The mage decided to remind him that if it hadn't been an illusion, the knight would have pierced him right through the heart. The men exchanged pleasantries, thanked each other and shook hands. The captain thinks he has gained much more than the young man, which Ian, of course, did not deny, because the knight's skills have indeed become a head above those of 5 years ago. Even the mage's attacks are now within his grasp. Oliver is flattered by this, and he asks permission to ask a question. The captain wonders what level Ian has reached in that time, to which the young man is of course modest, thinking it's not as big a title as it might seem. He is a 5th class master. In his previous life, Max managed to reach 5th class only at the age of 26. Although the rate of development is excellent, Ian has not yet managed to become a 6th class mage, because of the speed of body development and replenishing the mana heart that cannot be increased. At the moment, the young man's limit was 5th grade, but he shouldn't give up trying to become stronger either. Suddenly, someone from outside called out to him, the best mage and the best knight of the empire. Of course, it was the crown prince, who immediately invited the men to breakfast to celebrate their, well, relentless drive to become better. Ian begs his pardon, he will not be able to attend this event as his tower training ends today. Today he will be officially admitted to the duties of Archmage. He has to meet with the master of the tower. The crown prince was upset and saddened, but understood everything. After saying goodbye to Ian, he lets him go. The mage was grateful to his highness and did not hesitate to take off. Right over the heads of the men watching from below, the young man promised to return soon and disappeared into the clouds. Thanks to the robe the emperor had given him, Ian could fly. The prince was even a little envious. He still had one question for the captain. Training was over, what could anyone here say about all this? And Oliver picked up on 2 things. He could not touch Mr. Ian, and the difference in strength between them would only grow. However, the knight could say one thing for sure, that he would be able to defeat any other mage. And so the main office of the Ivory Tower. Ian arrived on time, as requested. The master keeps going back to the day when he was told about the talented boy from the north who came to meet him in the tower. It seems as if only a short time has passed, but today he is standing before him. And that means that the tower master has grown older. Reading the recent letters of recommendation about Anna, the elders saw only praise. Page's appearance is a gift to Celestia and the entire empire. Even newly graduated mages are trying to be like him. After all, Ion is literally a walking manual on how to be the perfect mage. And the young man asks not to praise him too much, to which he gets this response. Whether it is true or not, they will find out very soon. Today, as Ian knows, is the last day of his training. A normal student of the academy would have a graduation ceremony, and then he'd be sent to the provinces to conduct mana tests. But the young man's case is unique. And how does Ian feel about spending the big day talking to an old man? Page, of course, considers it a great honor. The host realizes it's the custom to respond this way, but he's pleased all the same. It's official. He congratulates Ian on becoming a true mage and presents him with this plaque. The mage can display it anywhere in the empire. Everyone from soldiers to citizens will have to listen to him. He might need it a lot in the future. Patch wonders, is there really anywhere that needs his help as a full-fledged mage? And unfortunately it is. The tower is short-staffed. They've lost Helen, and there's no one to do her duties. The master doesn't want to burden Ian, but he'd appreciate the help. Page is happy to help, especially as he's one of the archmages of the tower. Yes, he has high expectations. Since this is the first time, Ian can choose where he wants to go. The province of Radmir is the empire's largest seaport, or maybe the province of Benson, the largest iron producer in the empire. And the last place for the young man is Pyric province, where he had performed mana tests in a past life. The thing is, some mage died on that mission, so he was sent to replace him. If there are stories like that going on there, Ian chooses this place, which the tower's owner had no doubt about. It's the one that needs help the most. They had already sent 2 3rd-grade mages and Imperial knights, but the problem remained unsolved. Apparently, the monsters of the Great Meadows have gone on the offensive. This is the document that spells out all the details. I must try to familiarize myself with it and make up my mind today. If he refuses, we'll have to find someone else. No sooner had the tower master finished speaking than the mage took over the task without a second thought. He would go to the province of Pyric. In the evening on the same day, the palace is for guests. The young lad is in shock. And he's going on his first mission to that province? The thing is, there are huge monsters raiding there all the time. The mage was not pleased with these words spoken at the table, and all because his mother was sitting next to him, who started to worry and ask questions. Was it really that dangerous and that bad out there? Ian tried to change the subject delicately, saying something about the couple of months it would take to sort things out. Mac was leaving in a week. His mother was saddened again, but Ian promised to return as soon as possible. The boy got into the conversation again and offered to let the captain look at the elixir he had made before he left. The boy had tried hard, perhaps he could use that one. And the alchemist, Douglas's father, was embarrassed. Wasn't it time for his son to stop calling Mr. Ian captain? The boy at first did not understand what he was talking about, but he soon agreed to his father's wishes. Perhaps it would be better to call the wizard your brother? His father almost choked on his fork at what he heard. Even the other side of the table was surprised. Douglas said it again with all the politeness he could muster. Brother Ian. He'd been the one who'd made the potion to kill Ian in a previous life. And the mother at the table smiled. Now her son has a little brother, it's so sweet. Douglas's father was in complete shock at this point. Then what could he call Vanessa now? Never mind, let his son call him Mr. Ian, no familiarity. Even after growing up together in this very house. Mother seemed to understand why the grown man was so nervous. It's magical, no words are needed here. After looking at all this, Ian made a conclusion for himself. This was the kind of life he liked, when the whole family was together and everyone was having fun at the dinner table. But no brother, Douglas realized. And so Ian was getting ready to leave. Lydia wondered if he was going straight to Pierrick or if he had some important business to attend to before then. Yes, Max will first stop by to say goodbye to the Tower Master, and then to the province. And he hoped the alchemist hadn't forgotten where he'd set the mana traps. The alchemist only smiled and nodded. The man would give his life to keep the young man's mother safe. Douglas turned again to his brother, to the captain, and handed him his vial. He was aware that the mage already had an elixir from his father and this one was the same, but the boy made it his own way. And Douglas thinks he moved closer to Kian to whisper something in his ear. This specimen will work much better than his father's. Yes, Douglas is indeed a talented boy, so anything is possible, and the mage thanks the youngster. Although Douglas still had 3 more years to study at the academy, his skills had already been recognized at the Imperial level. He has also been promoted to the position of Imperial Alchemist. Ian is confident that his elixir will work well. Also, the captain will ride a carriage instead of flying on his robe and attracting attention as the curious young man thought. Mother barely made it in time for his departure. She had prepared a meal on the road for Ian. On the top was food that would spoil quickly, but on the bottom was dried meat and dried vegetables. They could be saved for later. The mother also put a bean pie, the son's favorite. Max thanked his mother with all his love, and then hugged her according to all the rules of a loving child and etiquette. And he promised that he would be back soon, but now it was definitely time for him to go. Having once again bowed, he gets into the carriage, and then goes forward into the unknown. Sad thoughts do not leave the young man's head, and he deeply believes, or at least he should believe, that even where he and his forces are not, Mother will be safe. Still, a huge mansion with good security, a beautiful city with a low crime rate, and of course, mana worms that only Douglas, Mother, and Lydia can control. That should definitely be enough to protect the mansion. Ian barely puts these thoughts down and clenches his fists harder. Pierrick Province, he thinks, it's been 25 years. 25 years have passed since that day. Well, part 3 has come to an end. For part 4, you need to write a secret word in the comments. Tower, that's how I know you've seen this video to the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. See you later and bye-bye.